Hi everyone, it's Victor speaking, and today we are going to be talking about Pluto Retrograde, which is going to be taking our starting actually on the 27th of April. And it's going to be retrograde till the 6th of October. So we are going to be having a good 5 months of Plutonian themes, which need to be internalized within us. Towards the end of the video, I'm also going to be discussing what it might bring for the 12 signs also. But before we actually jump into that, we want to be having a look at what exactly a Pluto indicates in your chart. So in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to be telling you a little bit of a meaning of Pluto, because in order for you to understand what really Pluto retrograde might mean in your chart, you do need to understand what Pluto represents. So I tried again choosing a background picture which might be giving you a little bit of a visual indication of Pluto meanings. And you can see that in the background, we've got kind of like a little bit of a dark energy. So this is kind of, I would say, the moment when Adam and Eve are kind of getting out of the paradise, and basically they are going into their little bit of a dark phase of their life. Now, Pluto, the last time when Pluto was on these degrees, because the retrograde is going to be happening almost on 27 degree of Capricorn, and it's going to go back to 24. So the very last time Pluto was on these degrees was during the American Revolution, which took place between 1774 to 1777. And it did bring some deeper issues up about who is in charge, how the system is working or structured, something around the politics, the hierarchy system in our world. Now, Pluto has been in the sign of Capricorn since 2008 November. And basically the sea goat rules all these structural, institutional, and the societal programs in the world. So the purpose of Pluto in Capricorn is kind of to reorganize the society so that we may once again live in harmony with the natural cycles of our planet and basically creating a greater universe. So, in Pluto in Capricorn pretty much exposes sometimes hypocrisy, corruption, the greed, kind of the governmental framework, and how we actually fail certain things in the society. And we can see that the media reports so regularly on global scandals, and, so we can see that somehow the world is changing, right? And definitely Pluto is a planet which is examining the great imbalance between the masculine and the feminine energy as well on our planet. So this is the reason why I kind of chose, a man and a woman in the background being in the dark. So we also say that Pluto in traditional, or in more like a traditional approach, Pluto was the lord of the underworld, and he was associated with Hades. Now, it used to be, by the way, a planet, but in 2006, he got demoted. And it got demoted actually because of the asteroid called Aries and Ceres, because they have got quite an irregular orbit, all three of them, and they thought that it doesn't really correlate with the rest of the planet. And by the way, Ceres was Pluto's mother-in-law. So she was the Earth Mother, the Great Mother. She was the goddess of grain, agriculture, and planting. And she was very protective towards her daughter, Proserpina, or Persephone. So Persephone was abducted by Pluto and forced her to live with him in the underworld. And therefore Ceres got angry and she caused the plants to die. And eventually they came to a conclusion so that Persephone spent basically half of her time, the spring and the summer, with Ceres and half of the time with Pluto. Now, Pluto always goes retrograde sometime around April, and it finishes its retrograde period around October. So what you can see is that, of course, Pluto is going to be going backwards because he lost his love of the life, right? She is spending her mortal times somewhere above the ground, right? So it already gives you this little story, a little bit of an indication of what Pluto really talks about. It thinks slowing down a little bit for Pluto, because I'm going to be hiding. I'm going to be, somehow being in the background, and I'm going to be contemplating on my life a little bit. So this is very much about, in traditional astrology, we say that the retrograde planets have got a 25% less strength. And the reason being is because we tend to be internalizing a lot more during those period of time. However, I would like also to mention that, in one hand, retrograde planets are a lot more powerful as well, because they definitely spotlighting our inner insecurities within us. And, I would say that we have had a beautiful 2-month window when planets were direct, and, we had plenty of opportunities to actually act or initiate on things, especially once the Aries season started kicking in. Now, Pluto is the furthest planet from us, and it is called an outer planet, or we can also call him as a collective planet. So it tends to be affecting the humankind a lot more rather than on a personal level. However, I would say that if you have got planets in any of the cardinal signs around 24 to 27 degrees, meaning in Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn, definitely that Pluto is going to be affecting you on a personal level as well. But what is really Pluto about? So Pluto was discovered actually in 1930 by Clyde Tombaugh. And Pluto is the Kuiper Belt object located beyond Neptune. So it's classified as a dwarf planet because of its shape and orbit. And it takes approximately about 248 years to go around the sun. Now, meaning that in our lifetime, we never actually experience a Pluto return. And what's interesting about Pluto is that till 2015, actually, Pluto was invisible. Excuse me. And it was something which we have never seen before on a collective level. Now, as I said, in Greek mythology, Pluto is associated with the god of the underworld. He was also one of the children of Kronos, which is all about time. And after Zeus and him managed to fight back their father, he became the god above the dead people. So, one hand, Pluto represents the hell. But when we look at the hell from a spiritual perspective, actually hell is a place regarded in various religions as a spiritual realm of evil and suffering, often traditionally depicted as a place of perpetual fire beneath the earth where the wicked are punished after death. So just think about what is that fire? It's all about purifying. So it means that, once you get to hell, then you are actually getting purified from all your sins, and kind of it creates for yourself a rebirth if you really deserve it. Pluto represents your subconscious mind. It is somehow connected in modern astrology to the 8th house meanings. So it could talk about guilt, resentment, desire for control, spite, and revenge as well. So, for instance, a Scorpio moon might have got wronged by their mother, and he gets justified by taking his rage out of women, right? So somehow we becoming the vengeful victim here. So Pluto represents something around your shadow self, the hidden aspect of your personality. things which we have swept under the carpet. So it's very much about the skeletons in the closet. And in many, many cases, it does talk about ancestral and family taboos, secrets in our family as well. And also, this is Pluto represents the source of our compulsions to control. So, a couple of questions with Pluto. What area of life you might experience crisis situation? And that will be shown especially by the house position. The sign is not really important with the outer planets, or how we cope with trauma, paranoia, and how do we defeat our inner demons. What area of life have you been violated? What are your psychological fears? And what type of problems do they cause for you in real life, right? Area of life where we are lacking actually control. Pluto can take things to the extreme. Where and how we can claim our power back over time within our lives. The areas that dominate us until we release them and gain control over them. All these themes, very Plutonian ones. Maybe it also shows what area of life we are at mercy of others. The Pluto is associated with your greatest fear. It is your dark side. So you can either bring them to light or you can feed it in your subconscious, right? And then it eventually kind of destroy your self-worth, destroy your life overall, right? So usually wherever Pluto is in your chart, it shows what you might not want to be facing, what area of life you might be ashamed of, or how you are actually pertaining jealousy in your life, right? What area of life I might be allowing others to manipulate me or becoming manipulative, because these two walk hand in hand. So Pluto is similarly a little bit to the Sun. It talks about egotism, just a little bit in a different way. One is more visible, the other one is, and we don't really see what is going on behind the scene. So Pluto is all about shadow work, and it's the work which your soul kind of wants to signed up for. And if you reject that shadow side of yourself, it's gonna come back to you in different shapes and forms, okay? So that's what Pluto really indicates in our chart. On a global level, it is definitely an inner journey. So it's kind of giving us a global stage, and it says that we need to take an inventory. We need to take stock in our life, and we need to examine, what is good and what is not good currently with all the situation, what is going on. Because there is always a silver lining involved, meaning there is always something good in the bad things happening as well. So Pluto retrograde is really going to be telling you that you must embrace your shadow self. So transiting Pluto retrograde is a time of reflection about power and control issues in your life. So, for instance, if you have been controlled or controlling others or being manipulated, then it is actually a brilliant time to let them go. If you have been actually controlling others or even wanting to control situations at this moment, you somehow need to let that go. It is not a time actually for power tripping or a time for eliminations, right? The retrograde period indicates that things are going to be coming back into your life, and maybe some of the prejudice we make needs to be completely eliminated. So if you have been too smothering or controlling, for instance, in your relationship, if the Pluto is affecting somehow your seventh house lord or the seventh house itself, and you want to be holding on too tight to something, then it might force you actually to let go. So it's somehow a little bit of an awakening. If you are way too obsessive or compulsive, around, let's say, food or drugs or alcohol, then this Pluto retrograde actually gonna ask you to start think about it. Why am I holding on to this, right? Because Pluto retrograde always forces us to make a turnaround in our life. And the more you're trying to block that out, the more intense it becomes. The more destructive your behavior is, the stronger Pluto is going to be working in your chart. So I would say that Pluto is somehow associated with detoxification, getting the inner poison out of your life, and it's going to get exposed for yourself. Maybe it's just a suspicious behavior. Maybe it's tendency for secrecy. Pluto rules over racism, also. So these things might be coming back into our life, or even how we allow others to control us in the society, and what are we going to be doing about that. So this Pluto retrograde, I feel like it's a little bit of a spiritual evolution for us. And it does tell you that you should be trusting your inner gut feelings. Pluto sees things, situations through, but sometimes it thinks to the extremes of the extremes, and that could be a little bit of a problem. So Pluto will be making several aspects actually during this retrograde period, but there are a few of them which I would like you to keep an eye on. So only a few days after going retrograde, Pluto actually will be making a very helpful aspect to Mercury, then the Moon, and then Venus also. So, you know, this is kind of like easing, these three planets somehow easing us, this energy shift for us. Meaning that maybe we will be able to express our feelings to others, and maybe we will be able to talk about how we feel about certain things, right? So actually it could be a good time to bring, to purge your closet or get rid of some old stuff around the house as well. So one of the aspects is going to be happening on the 17th of May. Pluto is going to be making a positive aspect to the Sun. And maybe that's when the Sun is going to trigger some of the things. I've seen on Facebook a couple of things that, oh, Pluto is going to be bringing more death. I don't think in regards to COVID situation, I don't actually think it's going to be true, because I think Pluto, by slowing down, actually the infections or the number of death is going to be less deadly. And I feel like that's exactly going to be happening after the Pluto has made its positive connection to the Sun, which is going to be on the 17th of May once again, right? But it is a brilliant time also for stepping into new roles, which you can really benefit from in the long term. And then on the 5th of June, it might be a tense period of time, actually, because there is going to be a T-square happening between Pluto, Moon, and Mars. So, you know, that could be, we've got our emotions involved. We've got Mars, which is trying to force and pry things up alongside with Pluto. So that could be quite an intense day when people are trying to be rebellious about it. They want to be kind of denying their responsibilities, or they can even act a little bit recklessly as well. So I feel like beginning of June, we will be seeing that in some countries. Also, I feel like the relationship is going to get tested around the 23rd of June, when actually Pluto and Venus will be facing off each other in the sky. And, you know, maybe it's about the fact that some of the relationships in our life are not serving the greatest good, the highest good, and therefore things can be falling apart around that time. And also on July 17th, Pluto will start opposing the Sun. And you know, that's very much about when two ego are kind of clashing, right? So I've got my life mission and I've got my soul mission, which are really much in different type of you know, a dialogue basically. So I would say that on that day you need to be making sure that you are not trying to avoid any type of changes which you need to be working on. But then on the 17th of September, again, Pluto will be making a trine to the Sun as well. So that might be, again, a gentle releasing energy for plenty of them, and we will be able to let go of some of the past behaviors as well. So throughout this retrograde Pluto movement, there is a process of inner transformation. It might be a little bit slower, but in the long run, it works a lot better. So in one of my previous videos, I was talking about the 3 stages of Pluto. You know, we've got the reptile nature of Pluto, then we've got the eagle type of nature, and then eventually the phoenix bird. So this Pluto retrograde motion really is going to be asking you which stage you are at the moment, right? Yes, a transformation always leads to discomfort and anxiety, and it might even bring in some destructive impulses as well. But in order for you to calm those, you know, you need to try some activities which actually help you turn inwards, such as yoga or some type of relaxation techniques. Have a look at the position of your Pluto at the moment, and you can do some type of activities around that time, around that house, sorry. The key is not to panic, because when Pluto again gets direct, you know, the unconscious element will emerge and will be from deep within ourselves. So this 6 month period is very crucial of how you're going to start the period of time when actually October 6th hits again, right? Yes, some of you might be more prone to worry a lot or having even mood swings, right? Maybe you won't be able to adapt that much to others, or maybe actually you're going to be more hesitant or less hesitant to actually be judgmental towards others, or you're not going to take criticism way too well, or you're not going to take well what the government is kind of throwing at you. Remember that a lemon gets thrown at you. It's up to you how you make a lemonade out of that. Okay? So there is definitely an element of dissatisfaction with this Plutonian energy. When Pluto is retrograde, actually it gently destroys things, right? So in Capricorn, what it does is it reveals the shadow, the flows in the system, right? The destabilizing energy within yourself. Retrograde energy is all about revisiting something. So it does tell you that you have to revisit something in the past. Question is that some of the past traumas? Is that related to your emotion? Maybe it's a Plutonian person who is going to be popping up from the past in your life again, right? The significant key here is not to get yourself pushed back into some unhealthy behavior patterns, right? Something which you have ditched already, because you can also bring those back as well. Pluto will be highlighting one of your weakest spots, right? So it might be about overcoming some of your guilt, your shame, the way how you got disempowered by others. I am doing something personal about myself in May, which I have always felt kind of resentment and shame, and which always disempowered me. So I'm really hoping this Pluto will be bringing very great stuff for me actually in that department. As I said, it's all about the egotism. So it's very important that that we work on it. I have always had shame about my body, even you know, I've lost now almost 50 kilos, so 50. And I'm feeling a lot better, but I still am not satisfied. So I'm just gonna go and do some constructing work on my body again, which is all about Pluto destroying something, and Capricorn is all about rebuilding things, right? So if you don't take anything away from this video, but take this away, it's all about elimination and releasing old, outworn, outdated things in our life. Very, very important. So it's all about shadow work. It's all about something which needs to be found in our soul, and we need to examine that on a deeper level. Great. So I hope this gives you a little bit of an indication of what we should be expecting from Pluto. And it's time to dive into the 12th sign as well. However, I would like to mention that it's mainly important to you if there is a planet around 27 to 24 degrees of the cardinal signs. So let us dive into the 12 signs, and let's start today with Aries. So if you have got an Aries sun or Aries rising sign, especially around 27 to 24 degree, you know, you're gonna have to be careful that Pluto doesn't really corrupt your use of authoritative power. And you're gonna have to make sure that you don't really neglect your responsibilities or duties as well, especially something which is given by law, life, or even the gods, right? This is definitely focusing on your career. So it might be a time when you're gonna have to look at whether you are in the right career path. Do you have to make some crucial changes, or do you need to transition into a different business idea? So somehow, maybe some discomfort in your professional life, but it is trying to bring you into a higher alignment with the divine power and the soul divinity, basically. So maybe you're going to have some battles with power or positions, or with your bosses, or even with the government, or any type of authority figures, really. Right? So it is a time actually when you're gonna have to think about how I'm gonna take a step further my professional life. Now, especially around the first 2 weeks of September, I would be saying that you're gonna have to pay attention to when the Sun and Mars are gonna be having an alignment with Pluto. Maybe that's going to be the time when you can take some bold actions in your life, right? One of the trap which Pluto might bring for you is to kind of bind you towards your fears. So, and then you might be noticing a lot more that somehow your career is destroying your soul a lot more, and it's not really that sacred place anymore, and it's not really fulfilling. And actually, you might be a lot more tempted to try something new as well. Now, we usually say that retrograde periods are not necessarily the greatest time to start or initiate something new, which I don't really agree with when it comes to the outer planets. The reason being is because they have got a longer period of time while they are moving backwards, right? So Pluto does that for about 242 days. So meaning that I'm going to have to put my life on, on hold for half a year because, we've got Pluto retrograde. Not really. But maybe the time for you to make some type of actions is when that Pluto gets triggered quite nicely by other transiting planets as well. So it is all about honoring your duties, your responsibilities, even your sacred obligations as well. And do all these things honorably, even during any type of extreme conditions. Probably you can experience some financial boost as well, especially in the first 2 weeks of May, when Venus and the Sun will be trining Pluto as well. So it might be actually giving you new ways of earning money also. But because Pluto is in Capricorn, you need to be acting about it strategically. And slowly but surely work towards the independence. Master your plans this year with this Pluto turning retrograde energy, and don't rush things. Make sure that you really work out every single step what you want to be doing. So especially if you have got your sun between 24 to 27 degree, then you of Aries, then you know that Pluto is going to be squaring your sun continuously for the next 1.5 years. And it is definitely about, as I said, that the two egos are clashing each other. So it is very much about, coming out of the closet, basically. And, you also had a new moon happening on the 11th of April in the sign of Aries, right? So that is already somehow started kicking this off for you. Now, when you have got a Taurus rising sign, then Pluto really tries to keep you from, keeping you a little bit further from, making some type of bold decisions when it comes to your freedom, your wisdom, or even your faith as well, right? So yes, at the same time, Uranus is definitely making some revolutionary changes in your life. It might be bringing you some type of enlightenment, right? It wants you to reach higher dimensions and higher levels when it comes to your coming out of the comfort zone type of things, because Uranus is transiting currently your rising sign, right? But that Pluto wants you to reassess your faith and how you relate to freedom. Watch out for any type of legal matters as well, because Taurus is going to be going through, Pluto is going to be going through your house, which is something to do with how we take advice from others, or how we actually give advice to others as well. By the way, I do believe that you might be also receiving some type of wealth opportunities as well, especially the first couple of weeks of May, because Venus is going to be giving a hand to that Pluto to kind of succeed this year. And also we're going to have a lovely Sun-Pluto trine as well, which I've already spoken about. Now, when it comes to some of the theme which relates to abroad, it might be actually throwing you a red flag. So maybe it is telling you that pay attention to any type of foreign dealings or foreign relationships, or even with travelers as well. It might be in regards to some type of export or import. You might want to be ordering something from abroad and it kind of never arrives, or it gets delayed as well. But also it might be just revisiting some of your academic pathways as well. So maybe it's about picking up on new skills, learning something, so that in order for you to change something around your career, especially after 2023. Now, I would also say that it might be related to somehow renewing some of your paperwork as well. Maybe if you have got visa, check actually the date. Or maybe it's just the time to expand your spiritual growth with the God, with the universe, or with your inner self as well. I would also say that here, one of the inclination what the Pluto might be indicating is that you're gonna have to do some type of therapies, or maybe some spiritual practices, something which the universe will be presenting to you. So you're gonna have to keep your ears open, basically. I would also say that investments very possible for you as well, especially when it comes to June, July, when Mars is going to be making brilliant aspect from the sign of Leo as well for you. Now, when it comes to Gemini Sun or Gemini rising sign, well, we're not going to be sugarcoating it. Pluto is going through your 8th house, which is definitely something Gemini will feel very strongly. It's time to reborn. This is the time when you're going to have a look at the pitfall of your life and then completely get that out of your system. There is also a very powerful solar eclipse, which is going to be happening in your sign as well, or will happen. So it is definitely all about redemption, healing, transformation, and somehow initiating into a higher power, right? Of course, it might be about accepting something on a spiritual level or tapping into your spiritual power more. It might be about just learning how my body functions, or I'm taking some extra courses so that there is a concentration happening on the healing department. It's a little bit of an alchemical type of work, which we have to do within ourselves. And it's like peeling some of those layers off. And it's a slow process. So Gemini, don't try to rush it. It's going to be more about, don't look at the world as pink and gray and black and white and all those type of things, knowing that it's going to be, one day pink and one day a little bit grayish, okay? You might be suffering from sleeping problems, or watch out for anything to do with extreme debts, or buying the wrong medicine for yourself. It could really bring some psychological disturbances. And maybe that Pluto will want to somehow lure you into some demonic activities as well. Watch out for any activities when it comes to police and also legal matters as well. But I feel like, especially around towards the end of May, you might be getting some precious remedies into your life as well, which is going to be highlighting to you or what you need to be doing. Yes, some of you might be experiencing some type of losses, unfortunately, or you might have to be dealing with some inheritance or tax matters as well. So if you haven't really paid your taxes, make sure you revisit them, because Pluto will guarantee somehow that it will bring scenarios into your life, which you not only mentally you have to prepare for them, but it might cause you some financial situation also. So this Pluto retrograde might be bringing you some key events in your life. And it is definitely more about some type of recovery. So it's Pluto here is acting like a bondage. And also just pay attention to not getting into any type of criminal activities or corruption or just unjust limitation, because those things can come to life as well. Maybe the September time could be a brilliant time for you to make some type of new commitments, or even making significant decisions in regards to your career path. Don't forget that Pluto most likely is in sextile with your midheaven as well at the same time. Okay, and I also feel like that June and July is going to be very much about your love life. So it wants you to bring some love and joy into your partnership also. When you have got a Cancer rising or a Cancer sun, then this Pluto can bring some relationship turmoil. And you might feel a little bit out of balance. And this is going to be the biggest Plutonian theme. There must be some foundational changes in your relationship department, especially if your descendant is between 24 to 27 degree, or you have got a planet around that area of life. So it might be that you actually get into some legal matters also, or you're going to be having some clashes with opponents or enemies as well. And these people can be popping up from the past, or you might actually have to face a court case as well. Right? Maybe someone tries to strip you away from something which is rightfully actually yours. So somehow that Pluto is a reminder here that justice needs to be brought. And hopefully, there are great period of time when that justice actually can happen to you, especially around the new moon in July, what is going to be taking place. I will also feel that, especially May is going to be a month when really some of the relationship patterns might be highlighted for you. And also, I do believe that Pluto wants to kind of ruin some contracts or long-term commitments as well, which you have signed up for maybe ages ago. So this Pluto retrograde really tells you to watch out for any of your contracts, any of your negotiations, what you are actually doing, especially if you're making any type of joint venture, or maybe you want to be merging a company with others, or you want to be merging your business with someone else. Especially in those cases, watch out for this Plutonian theme. Pluto is acting in a retrograde motion like it was a cosmic microscope. So it wants you to examine things very thoroughly and don't rush things. Read those contracts, even if it's needed, then 3 times. Okay. Also, that Pluto might want you to be connecting with others and looking at some of your relationships in your life, and not just on a romantic level. Also, you're going to be having a new moon happening in Virgo, and that's going to be affecting you the most in August and September. And I feel like the universes will be presenting you new ways of restoring any lost life forces during maybe May and August period. When it comes to Leo Sun or Leo rising sign, well, Pluto wants to kind of reorganize the way you look at health matters. Maybe you can go to the extremes with it and you're going to be very cautious about how you live your life, or you say that, no, it was enough, and somehow I just want to get out of this rut and I don't really care anymore. So it is very much about a reminder for you that you need to be finding that golden middle road, right? But it also maybe wanting you to actually change the corruption around your working life. Maybe it wants you to kind of want to serve a humanitarian cause. Maybe actually it wants you to face an evil type of energy at work as well. This Pluto really here looks for loyalty and something to do with loyalty and somehow commitment as well when it comes to your employment, for instance. But this might be a period of time when it wants you to re-examine your health conditions. It might want you to go and then get yourself checked out, or it might want you to reflect on why you started putting on weight and what I can do about it. Right? Work situation can be a little bit of a passion killing type of energy. So you might also feel that, yeah, I don't necessarily want to be doing this job anymore, right? And especially when May comes around, maybe actually there is going to be new opportunities for you in work environment, because Jupiter is going to be affecting you as well, meaning that it might be some collaborative work, or maybe it's going to be some Jupiterian jobs you might need to be actually taking on. Great. When it comes to Virgo rising sign or even the Virgo sun, For you, Virgo, this Pluto retrograde will also bring some type of transformation, of course. And probably there is going to be a very strong temptation, maybe something which is unusually strong for you. And it might be about having, revisiting some of your dark pleasures, or maybe some forms of some type of professional compromise that can sabotage your, your ascension process and how you stand with the God. So it might be the fact that you want to be having a child and you are revisiting that topic with your partner, or even when it comes to just a transformation with your the relationship between you and your children. So it might be something which is getting spotlighted, which hasn't really worked, or maybe somehow something from your inner childhood, which is actually popping up in the picture. Maybe it's a memory from your childhood, which you have to deal with during this retrograde period. Now, I would also say that, I do believe that Pluto is the planet of light. So it wants to bring some light into your fifth house meta, meaning that maybe you just need to be looking at the ways how you enjoy life. Do I actually enjoy life, or do I tend to be a little bit more sorrow since 2008 when Pluto actually entered the sign of Capricorn, meaning it entered your fifth house as well? Now, towards the end of April and early May, actually, Pluto is going to be having a retrograde period of Vesta happening in your sign as well. So, meaning that it's definitely about the focus around myself and how I live my life, and do I actually enjoy the freedom which I'm having at the moment, or what can I do about it? So Vesta is going to be all about a laser focus actually on the self, right? I also believe that this Pluto might be breaking some heartbreaks as well, because of course the fifth house is something to do with romance and flirt. So if you have started a new relationship recently, that Pluto might be telling you to re-examine that and look at if there is some destructive behavior involved there, or some type of tragic dynamics which is kind of emerging within that early stages of relationship. So maybe they just misunderstand some of the signs. Maybe the way they flirt or they live their life might not be satisfying, and that needs to be revisited. Maybe actually that's the sexual chemistry, which is something you guys need to work on together. I feel like maybe July and August is kind of a milestone for you. It's very much about how am I going to feel a lot more beautiful about myself, very much about accelerated healings, and how am I going to be kind of changing basically the entire approach when it comes to my life. That Pluto might be actually asking also you to look at your creativity. Am I taking enough risks in my life? Do I actually express the true self of myself? Those also could be a important question for you. Now, I also believe that this Pluto retrograde will be featuring your Sun and Mars, and it might something around justice in your professional life. And maybe it helps you actually to shine in your career, and that's going to be more typical for you somewhere in mid-September time for you as well. But I also believe that from August onwards, you will be able to move mountains as well. So you might be striving for some type of promotion. I feel like the summer might be around some changes in your career also. Now, when it comes to early September, actually, you're going to have a new moon, which is going to be trining your Uranus. So I feel like that might be a period of time when you are going to be receiving some spiritual gifts from the universe. Now, when it comes to Libra Sun or Libra rising sign, then basically your security is going to be questioned, and the need to examine that from you. So one of the questions Pluto might be asking here from you is that, who the heck stole my security from me? What type of devil? And who is trying to damage my key structure, my relationships, my businesses, you know, my accounts, my properties, and when it comes to my boundaries as well. And remember, one of them is going to be you, but when Pluto is in a direct motion, it does bring some type of external event in our life. Make sure that you don't become one who is going to be blaming others, right? So this Pluto retrograde is very much about tapping into your higher level of security. What does security mean for me? But also it could be bringing you some family issues as well, which you need to attend. So it's not just about capitalizing on the family support, but maybe it's telling you that it's time that I need to be coming back something to them as well. Now, especially July might be quite enhanced for you around the 4th of July, when we are going to be having quite loads of Cancer transits going on, especially from the Sun and the Mars. And also we're going to be having a Cancer new moon as well. So for Libra rising, I feel like July might be a very significant month when the family matters are going to be enhanced, and unfortunately maybe the medical condition of the parents as well. And therefore they're going to be needed, they're going to need your help a lot more as well, right? So this Pluto is definitely inviting you into dealing with some dark moments from your ancestry line. So it's very much about bringing some of the insecurities out of the closet. Okay, maybe actually the Pluto can lure you into some ruinous types of investment. For instance, be careful if you want to be buying, for instance, a property. It might not be the greatest time, especially around May, when Uranus is going to be highlighting anything towards your financial entanglements. Something around your resources, the shared joins with others. So just watch out for that. When it comes to Scorpio Sun or Scorpio rising sign, well, you are ruled by Pluto. So Pluto is one of those who is ruling you. And it is telling you that it is time to completely transform. Now, it's all about providing yourself a mental freedom and maybe tapping into your supernatural abilities as well and rediscovering your own power, right? So it's something which is asking you to completely transform your life and gain knowledge about what type of things I am addicted to, or what is that dark energy which is kind of distracting me from my path. It might be asking you the question, how is your mental health at the moment? Can I focus? Do I have got that laser focus when it comes to coming up with ideas, or just these ideas are passing by all the time? So something around with your wisdom, becoming wiser around the ways how I approach things, about how I process mentally some things, are going to be some of the main topics for you. And of course, this is going to be very prominent for you, in my opinion, in the next 2 years anyway, when you're going to have the eclipses coming up in 2022 as well. So Scorpio, you definitely in the next 2 years, you will have to go through a significant transformation. Maybe this Pluto will be talking about your financial stability, the way how you want to be growing, right? So definitely you need to watch out for your spending habits. You might be experiencing some crisis scenarios actually when it comes to how much money I've got in the bank account, or how much money I've got in my bank account. And that might make you vulnerable as well at the same time. But I do believe that some of the greatest achievements can happen this year also for you, especially if you reflect on some of the insecurities you might be having around financial matters. Okay? So when it comes to Sagittarius Sun or Sagittarius rising sign, you know, it is very much about when you are having opportunities actually to kind of go forward, economically speaking. So, you know, but this Pluto is kind of wants you to plunge, basically stuff up a little bit, right? So meaning that if you didn't believe in yourself, that you have got the ability to make money, then it's very important that you start watching out for that. And maybe some of the greatest month for you is when the sun is going to, or any planet is going to be making a beautiful aspect from Taurus or Virgo, right? And maybe it's going to be all about making some type of strategies. Yeah, this is the way how I'm going to be making some money, for instance. Or this definitely it's about watching out for your financial expenditures, of course, but it is asking you to start believing in yourself, have faith in yourself. And because if you do so and then you work hard, actually you can have some financial reward coming around. I feel like maybe there were some wounds from 2020 which you kind of had to heal, and that Pluto is actually giving you an opportunity to revisit those. So it might be again some of the wounds which you actually can revisit and heal for once and for all. When it comes to Capricorn Sun or Capricorn rising sign, well, you know, definitely you are going to be affected, especially if your rising sign or the sun is somewhere towards the end of the sign. It is talking about a complete transformation around the self, the way you approach world, the way how you present yourself to others, and the way you negotiate with others as well. Pluto has been stirring things up for you since 2008, right? So imagine that basically a dragon flew into your first house, right? And it has been trying to highlight some of the devils and the evil energies in your life, which might be ruining you. So it is definitely telling you that it's time to revisit every single aspect of your life, how I can completely renew myself. And it might be that you become you are going to be having like a monumental crossroad of choices. So you're going to have to make, am I going to take this road? Am I going to be taking that road? Am I actually am I going to go towards my higher calling, right? And maybe I'm going to be somehow be in the public service to others. Am I going to be exposing my talent when it comes to for instance, making a website? Don't forget that Jupiter is going to be shifting into your third house on the 14th of July. And it might be an indication that it is a way out for you to start kind of a new career path, for instance. Okay, and when it comes to Aquarius rising or Aquarius sun, so I do have got Aquarius sun, but mine is on 17 degree. So it's not really doing at the moment anything. However, the ruler of Pluto will be hitting my sun very shortly. So in one way or another, it's definitely affected. So even if you have got an Aquarius sun, but if Saturn is going to be triggering it, it does bring in some type of Plutonian themes as well. And Pluto wants you to think about the future. So the question it might be asking you is that, is it really what you want to be doing in a long run? Are you deceiving somehow yourself? Do you have to actually quit a tribe and then start a new one? Do I need to be part of a new group because the other one is too outdated, right? And Jupiter is definitely going to be giving you a help here, especially somewhere in June time, to actually make some great decisions about envisioning the future for yourself. Okay, so Jupiter is going to be shifting into your second house, right? Eventually somewhere in May. So these two houses are very financially orientated as well. So meaning that financial opportunities are definitely going to be on the cards for you. But it is wanting you to re-examine those things in your life. And maybe it's just all about attracting some magic, right? Making some magic. Pluto does talk about that. Okay, so Pluto, unfortunately, can be creating some type of very negative thought patterns as well. So we might tend to be more inclined towards self-harm or something to do with destructive escapism among Aquarians. Don't forget that Pluto is going through your 12th house at the moment. So it's definitely about examining your darkest energies ever. Okay. It is very much of a psychological, basically work what you have to do for yourself. You might want to be inviting your guardian angels, for instance, because remember that Jupiter will be very helpful for you. Jupiter is still in your sign and it's going to be going back there as well. And Jupiter rules anything to do with angels. Okay. So if you are going through a very tough period of time, make sure you try to focus on the future and how am I going to come out of that. Pluto will try to attempt to compromise you. It might be kind of like a secret setup, what it wants to create for you. Don't get lured into that. And lastly, but surely not the least, last but not least, Pisces rising sign or the Pisces sun. Now, I feel like this is going to be actually a period of time for you when you can really contemplate on your long-term goals, on your dreams, what I want to be achieving. So Pluto is going to be going through your 11th house, but at the same time, don't forget that Jupiter is going to be shifting into your rising sign as well. So definitely it might be bringing you some accomplishment when it comes to wanting to start, for instance, new careers, when it comes to what I have been dreaming about to do so far. And maybe it's determining what you are actually going to start in the next 3 years. It might be actually telling you, sorry, that some of your friends are going to be coming back into your life, and maybe they are bringing you a fresh perspective in your social matters. Again, you know, as I mentioned previously as well, with the Aquarius rising sign, Jupiter does indicate something to do with the guardian angels. So Jupiter in your first house will prevent you from any type of tragedies. But you're gonna have to hold on to those possibilities. So I feel like by having still Saturn going through your 12th house the entire year, it does tell you that you still have to work on some of your inner demons as well, right? You're gonna be pretty much activated when it comes to, am I able to actually consult with someone about what really bugs me the most about my career, about my friendships, why my friendships are not working out the greatest, or why actually I am not able to accumulate some money. And you're gonna have to contemplate on that surely. And maybe you are going to be receiving some gifts from 14th of onwards, when Jupiter is going to be entering your own sign. So that could be a graceful spotlight, basically, which is going to be helping you to restore some of those mental blockages around the way how I am making money. I feel like overall, this Pluto wants to smash some of your limiting belief system around the ways of your earning, the ways of the blockages, what the society is kind of throwing at you. Great. So very briefly, this is what I feel most of you will be experiencing in the next 5 months. So if you like the video, don't forget to press like, ring the notification bell, and also share the video with others as well. Have a blessed Pluto retrograde period. See you very shortly with another video. Bye-bye.